What's up guys, John here and welcome back to John Moon Studios. In today's video, we're going to do part 3 of the basic automation inside of Logic Pro X, so let's get right to it. So if you haven't seen part 1 or part 2, I'm going to go ahead and link it up on the top right corner and in the description so you can go ahead and check it out. Today we have the same piano example, but this time I'm going to show you how to use automation in a different way using the relative and absolute values inside of the automation options. So if I go ahead and open up the automation window, which is these two dots with a line, or by pressing A on the keyboard and go to this drop down menu, and then let's say we want to do something like volume, you're going to see that we have a parameter called absolute and a parameter called relative. Now you might say, which one do I use or how do I use them? And today we're going to go ahead and unlock the secret between the two and why they are there. I'm going to do this in volume so that it's more obvious. And I can't really do it in pan because I'm screen recording, I'm recording my voice, and I would need to do a separate screen record so you can hear it in stereo and you can hear how the sound goes from right to left. So we're going to do this in the absolute value using the volume automation tool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my pencil tool. And I'm just going to draw a shape. I'm going to start on 0. I'm going to come down. I'm going to go all the way up here. And then I'm going to come down again, super quiet. Then I'm going to come back up, and I'm just going to continue this pattern to the end. Let's say this is the automation I wanted to create. Let's go ahead and check it out. Right, you get the idea. So now, let's say you want to raise the overall volume of this track, but you can't. And I'm going to tell you why. Because the first instinct is, let me switch this back to the pointer tool. The first instinct you have is to move either this knob, or if I press X to open up the mixer, to move this fader. But watch what happens when I press play again. It completely disregards what you did and starts following the automation again. Now you might say, okay, what if I turn off read? Well, then you turn off the automation too. So how do I fix this? The first way is using the relative automation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to activate volume, and I'm going to go to where it says relative. Notice how the volume here, so you could still see the absolute curves, but this time I'm going to worry about the relative volume. So what this does is it does not delete the first absolute lines you drew. It's going to go ahead and kind of override that, and I'm going to create a separate automation with this. So now let's say you just want to raise or lower the entire track. I'm going to go ahead and raise it about 2.5 dB. And now the overall volume of these little hills that I drew are going to change by 2.5 dB. Let's go ahead and check it out. Right, so it's still doing the movements of these hills, but I've raised the overall volume of it by 2.5. The same can be said if I lower it, let's say at 3.5. Now the starting point is going to be much lower, but the relative drawings that I drew for the absolute values are still going to be there. Check it out. We're starting now at negative 3.5. And I'm going to stop it here just to prove the point. It's at 14.9, negative 14.9 dB. If I go back to the absolute value here, you're going to see that I actually made it go down to negative 12.4. So why is it saying negative 14.9? Because I'm using the relative value, and it's shown by this plus or minus volume. And it's saying that, okay, you put negative 12 point, I think it was 9. We're going to do negative 3.5 dB less than that. And this is the value that it gives me, right? So here I'm down to negative 16 dB. This is the power of using absolute and relative automation. It's just another way of controlling your volume, because once you do automation curves in the absolute side of it, you can no longer use your fader to control the volume. You would have to go in and do an absolute kind of automation, so that way you can just adjust the overall volume. You don't want to go ahead and draw curves up and down here too, because then you're going to have two curves that really don't, they're not serving the function of this. I would say one of them has to control the dynamics if you want things to be louder or softer, and then use this as just an overall volume control. There's 100 ways you can probably route this out to an aux track and then just control the volume there. Let's just make it the most basic example here and just say that we only have this one track and we want to do it all inside this one track. Well, here you go. This is how you do it. So that's pretty much how you do it. This is how you use absolute and relative values. The same will go for panning. You can use the absolute and relative, draw curves in the absolute, and then in the relative just kind of shape it to where you want it to be, and then you can go ahead and override your curves by lowering or raising the volume or your panning, however you see fit. If you have any questions throughout the video, just go ahead and drop your comments down below and I'll get to them as soon as possible. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up, subscribe. Don't forget to hit the ring button so you don't miss any of my weekly videos. Don't forget to check out the John Moon Studios store. I have a variety of merch with the official John Moon Studios logo on it, so go ahead and check it out. As always, don't forget to share with your musician friends. I will see you guys soon.